Oh, hello. Normally my more serious side would start with the introductions, but they seem to be running late, so I guess it's over to me. We begin with the news headlines, or as I like to call it, the amuse headline. See what I did there? Wasted in this role. Welcome to the Drama Clock News. Children who opt into the drama by grace on the regular basis adapt to the new normal of a physical and mental warm-up and an under the spotlight activity. We have paper coming in. Reports of new everyday heroes helping the world to be a better place are emerging every day. One parent describes how Breakfast in Bed Boy made their eggs to a cracking standard and was impressed how he scrambled together such a mighty morning feast without being asked. Everything in that report is true. No yoke. Oh. We have more paper coming in. And finally, it's always good to end on a good news story, so we celebrate the creativity of this amazing duo. Armed with superb imagination, they invented stories involving a cow in a haunted castle and a talking cat encountering a saxophone-playing mermaid at the public swimming pool. What is not to like about that? I heard about that. Amazing. Keep your ideas coming in because we would love to show and tell your ideas with others. I can take it from here. Okay. Here's some paper. What's this? It kept coming in. Oh. This week it's really going to help if you can think big and be as dramatic as possible with your physical acting and your stories. I don't know how you're feeling today. Perhaps you've got to the end of another week feeling a little bit like my hair, frayed around the edges and in need of a good boost. Well, I hope that our physical warm-up will help you in some small way. We start with a game called Yes, Let's. Just 2 words. But with those 2 words, we are already starting to be as dramatic as we possibly can. I will give you some instructions. You simply have to reply with the words Yes, let's. But as you reply, I want you to be as confident and as big and as dramatic as you possibly can. Let's just try that first. Let's all be dramatic. Yes, let's. What do you think? Dramatic enough? Nah, I agree. Not really. Let's try it again. Let's all be dramatic. Yes, let's. Perfect. And I think I could hear you from here too. Well done. Right, let's crack on with the fun acting bit. I might say, let's all be bicycles. And you reply dramatically with, yes, let's. And then you become bicycles. Now you may have heard my instructions. I didn't say let's all ride bicycles. I said let's all be bicycles. So think about how you can move your body to get into the position of a bicycle. What angles could you make your arms to make them look like the handlebars? Perhaps you need to think about where your feet go to be the pedals. What noise does it make? Move around like a bicycle. Use your whole body, your facial expressions, everything, and become a bicycle. Right, here we go. We are going to call out some instructions. You reply with yes, let's, dramatically, and then you become whatever we ask you to become. Are you ready? Let's all be aeroplanes. Yes, let's. Let's all be lawnmowers. Let's all be a hot air balloon. I'm going to add a slight bit of detail. Let's all be washing machines full of clothes on spin. Let's all be electric toothbrushes with the toothpaste on the end and the button is pressed on. Yes, now up another level. Let's all be washing machines full of clothes on spin on top of an aeroplane. Now I knew there was a reason for this paper coming in. We need to use this as yourself, not as a lawnmower or a hot air balloon. Could you go and get yourself a blank piece of paper and something to write with? If you haven't got anything nearby, then pause the video and see if there's any around the house that you can borrow. You can do this, or you can ask an adult to do it. On your piece of paper, I need you to create 2 lists. One with the heading objects and the other with the heading emotions. On each list, please can you write 5 words that match that category. You can either copy mine, or it would be great if you came up with your own list. Okay, right, so the objects we have are a microwave, a stapler, a playground swing, a hoover and a shopping trolley. On your second list, I want you to write 5 emotions. Right, now the emotions we have: excited, sad, angry, scared, surprised. Again, you can use mine or come up with your own words. There are plenty of emotions to choose from. You could have happy, anxious, ecstatic, frustrated, relaxed. Any word that is used to describe an emotion. Very similar to yes let's, I'm going to call out the objects and then counting down from 3, all you need to do is to become that object with your body. There are no right or wrong ways of doing this. Just embrace the first idea that comes into your head and become that object. 3, 2, 1, a microwave. Three, 2, 1, a stapler. 3, 2, 1, a playground swing. 3, 2, 1, a hoover. 3, 2, 1, a shopping trolley. 'We now repeat the exercise, but this time, instead of using objects, we are going to use the emotion words. Very much like the objects, try and use your whole body to capture the word through your physical acting. And again, go for it. How amazing would it be if you acted it so dramatically that other people came in from other parts of the house just to see what was going on. Have a go at physically becoming these words. Excited. Sad. Angry. Surprised. Now we have a bit more fun and we mix it up by giving the object one of the emotions. So now act as an excited microwave. My turn. I want them to act as an angry stapler. A sad playground swing. A surprised Hoover. This is brilliant. If you have a list with different words, this is the bit where you pause me and you have a go at home. Ideally, get someone else to read out the list and then mix them up. Go and get emotional. I think it's safe to say that you are more than physically warmed up. That level of brilliant visual acting you have just done is going to be needed in the main Under the Spotlight section. Before we do that, we just need to make sure that our brains are warmed up too. You've already had to do this to be able to participate in the first two games, but this will really get the thinking muscles flexed. This is a question I often ask our friend here. This game is called What Are You Doing? You can play this in groups of any size, but ideally you have to have at least 2 people playing. Sorry adult, if you have one child taking part, then it's time for you to step up. Go on, you know you want to. I'm going to do a clear action, and then the person next to me is going to ask the question, what are you doing? So I'll do a clear action to start with. And they ask, what are you doing? Hopefully it's clear that I'm cleaning my teeth. But the answer that I give has to be completely different to the action that I'm actually doing. Without stopping, keeping up the action, even whilst I try to think of an answer, I then might say, driving a fire engine. Whatever the answer is, the person who has just asked the question takes up the action that I have just said. So now they are driving a fire engine. What are you doing? I'm rock climbing. And I take up rock climbing. And then the next person asks the question. And so the game continues. It gets harder as it goes along, as you're encouraged to try and not repeat any ideas. Once you have answered the question, you can stop doing the action. Whatever the action is, make it clear and confident. Give that a go. It's really hard to do that game without your brain being in gear. And I purposely made it more difficult by suggesting that you keep doing the action until you come up with an answer, because it really requires you to have good coordination and to be able to imagine a new idea and think on the spot. All great skills for acting, especially now as we move into our under the spotlight activity. In the last video, you created some great characters based around everyday heroes. We are now going to create some scenes with a slight twist using your heroes. If you have forgotten what we have done, have a look at episode 3 and this will fill you in. Alternatively, here is a very quick recap. We talked about what makes a hero. The point of a hero is that you change situations for the better. We created a character case and used items in the case to create our heroes. How am I going to use these random items to create a superhero? Well, let's give it a go. I've got my microphone and I think I'm going to use this to say and communicate kind and encouraging and positive words. And because it's a microphone, it will be loud and it will drown, blast out all the negativity, all the unkind and hurtful words. The glasses, well, they're just about reinforcing that image that I'm going to, with my superhero powers in the everyday, bring about brightness and light and sunshine. And the coat, wearing it by the hood on my head, well, come on, it's the only way this hero can get about. We gave them a name, a purpose and a mission to make the world a brighter place in the everyday. Now, remembering that we want our heroes to be everyday heroes, I'm going to think of our current situation and think, okay, it could be seen as a little bit dull and a little bit dark at times. So my hero, my everyday hero, wants to change that situation for the better. So I'm going to be Paint Woman, colouring the world with words of kindness. You can use the ideas you had in the last session, or you can make up a completely new hero. Wherever your creativity takes you, you go for the ride. We are going to create a story involving our heroes, but this is where all that physical acting comes into play. We are going to create our own comic strip. Don't worry, you don't have to be able to draw. We are going to create our comic strip through physical acting. In case you didn't know what one is, here is an example of a comic strip. First thing you need to do is think of a scenario where your everyday hero could help others and make a difference to other people for good. Here's the tricky bit. You need to condense your story into 6 freeze frames. You need to be reliant on your amazing facial expressions. Use your whole body to do physical acting to communicate your story. It's a challenge because there are no words and the story needs to flow. Think of a basic structure for your scenario, which is always a beginning, a middle and an end. For this to work, you really need an audience. Just one other person watching counts as an audience. They're important because they are involved in how this scene works. At the start, you say close. The audience must close their eyes as you quietly and smoothly get into your first frozen position. Then you say open. As the audience opens their eyes, they will see your first scene. Hold that position for 5 seconds. Then say close. You then quietly get into the next scene's position. Say open, hold for 5 seconds and then close, and so on until you tell the story in 6 freeze frames. By the end of the 6 freeze frames, you need to have told some kind of story involving your hero. Very much like the opening game. Think detail. How much can you communicate by the positioning of your face, the angles and positioning of your body? Make sure that everyone in the scene has a part to play. Let me give you a very quick example of how the comic strip might work. I won't use the superhero, I'll use a completely different title just because I want to do it quickly. Let's do the birthday cake disaster. Close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open. It's a silly example, but the cake exploded. It was a disaster. Anyway, we're not doing that. You're doing superhero stories. So there you go. Go for it. 6 freeze frames. As a comic strip, use everybody in the scene. Make sure you use your facial expressions, your whole physical acting, and have fun creating your comic strip. If you've managed to do that, then brilliant. Why not share your ideas via the Drama by Grace Facebook page? You might also want to take some photographs and put some speech bubbles with your comic strip. There may be other people in your family that you're having to communicate with remotely. If you have Zoom calls with your grandparents or friends, why not perform your comic strips to them? Get them to open and close their eyes and get them involved in your brilliant stories. I'm sure they would enjoy seeing you in action. It's time to sign off for another week, but not before we get to take a bow. So fitting with our theme of emotions early on in the session, we are going to take an emotional bow. First of all, we have the happy bow. Clasp your hands together, bounce on the spot, and then bow. Clasp your hands together, bounce on the spot, and bow. Next we have the holding in the tears bow. Again, clasp your hands together. We have the surprised bow. Enter stage, turn to the audience, who me, walk down stage, and bow, and skip off. Enter stage, look to the audience, who me, move down stage, and bow. Skip off. Thanks again for being so willing to give things a go and for your positive attitude towards drama. You brighten up the world with your creativity, so keep expressing it. See you again very soon.